Good morning, Deed Grabbers. It's Thursday. You know what that means. It's time for Goat Talk. So go get your questions. Come back and join us. Join us in the conversation. We're going to talk about real estate today. We're talking about creative finance. We're talk about what's happening here in Arkansas, man. We've been opening up this new market, and it's pretty exciting what's going on out there. We're excited to be doing local stuff again. So uh, go get your questions, go get your coffee, and we'll be back in 45 seconds. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sub tours. Say hello to us. Let us know where you are and who you are so we can talk to you on here this morning. Um, Jody and I are here still in northern Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yep. Uh, doing
You're in the
some,
hotel room and I'm in the hotel lobby.
yeah, doing some business, having some fun. We want to first off apologize for the emails the last couple of days. Gosh, and I'm sure that's been confusing for people. Our platform
Yeah.
had a glitch yesterday.
It sent everything out a day and a half early or something like that.
It did. And said we would be on in a few minutes or 30 minutes yesterday, and then our VA, who's around the world and not familiar with daylight savings time, did it again today. So
Yeah.
that's what happens sometimes. I
I
guess.
think he changed I think he changed everything in our thinking. Everything changes.
Hmm. Yeah. So he got a little messed up between the two of them. He said, "Should I send another one at the right time?" And I said, "No, that's just too much."
No, they're getting sick of all these
So we
notices.
may have a small group here this morning. That's cool. We like small groups too. Hey, Liz, good morning. Good to see you. Tara from Pittsburgh, PA. Hey, look there. Phil Smith from out in California. We got Charlotte here. Hot Springs, Arkansas. Good to see you, man. We're just
Yeah.
down the road. We're just down the road from you. Penn, good to see you. Carlos, Mindset, John L. Hello, good to see you. Good morning, Facebook user.
Yeah.
StreamYard.com/Facebook.
Facebook.
We'll
Then we
let
know
them
who you are.
know who you are too. Gosh, Ben, got a question off the bat here. We're going to come back to questions here in just a few minutes. Just wanted to do an update with what's going on here, man. It's 10 o'clock here. We've already had two calls this morning from our radio ads. Guys, we started running radio a couple of weeks ago, and that's been going pretty well.
I know. It's great, actually,
Mhm.
because they're calling you. It's been a nice switch from what we've been doing, which is
Mhm.
we've been doing a little more outbound earlier
Right. Mhm.
this last year. These inbound are a lot nicer.
I'm gonna tell you, and the
Better
brain
leads.
damage that you avoid is worth the cost.
Yeah.
We've only been running them for a couple of weeks, and we've probably averaged, I'd say, at least a call a day from them. Some days more. We've had two this morning, and it's early in the day. And my understanding is it takes a few weeks to build some credibility with listeners. So we're looking forward to more questions. Let's see. Hey, Dean Dummett, down in Macon, Georgia. Buddy, I'm glad it's you and not me. But anyway, we won't go into all that. Anyhow, so we got one call, which was a really interesting call this morning. It was actually from planning and development in a small town that's about 20 minutes from us.
Hmm.
People have described this place as like a really big HOA. A low, he called it this morning. I asked him, I said, isn't your town just like a big HOA? And he said, well, we call it a
POA.
protected community without gates.
It's a POA. They call it now I forgot what they said. Property Owner Association.
Right. And he said,
it's the same thing, but it's citywide.
Mm-hmm. He said, I heard your commercial. He said, we've got a property up here that I feel like if you'll call the owner, they live out of state, they'll probably make you a really good deal. There's somebody living in the house that's been there for years. They don't pay rent and they're not maintaining the property. The neighbors aren't happy about it. And it was really funny. He said, and if you can do something, if you can help us out with this one, I'll probably have one or two of these a month. We can help each other.
I know, isn't that awesome?
So that was
potentially. I mean, we don't know how it'll turn out, but potentially like a ongoing deal from the one radio call.
Right. Yeah. So we're looking forward to that. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and answer a couple of these questions. We'll come back to some stuff. Yeah. Before we get started, I want to remind you guys, if y'all aren't subscribed to us, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We release videos pretty much every day now. Of course, we do the live, we do podcast, and we also release videos every day. That's Sub2 TV. And share that thing. We want to get as many subscribers on there as possible, get as many people on these calls as we can. That's always a lot of fun. Let's see. Penn asked a question. Have you ever had to overcome the objection of imputed interest on a 0% seller finance deal? I'll tell you, Penn, most of the people that will seller finance to you, they fall into one of two categories. They know absolutely nothing about any of that, or they're super savvy people. But in either case, it hardly ever comes up.
You should explain what imputed interest is for those of us who might not know what that means.
Well, imputed interest simply means that, and that's a thing you hear among investors sometimes, is that if you get a seller to agree to sell to you with 0% interest financing, the IRS could come back on them at some point and say, hey, you should have been earning interest on this, and we're going to tax you on it just like you earned it anyway. Sort of like how the IRS does servers in the food industry if they don't report enough in tips. I can't remember what they used to call it. I've been out of restaurant now for 20 years, thank God. But back then they would call it, they had a term for it. And what they would do, the IRS, if they audited a server who didn't report enough in tips, they would say, we think you earned more, so we're going to just tax you on this. And that's just the way it was.
That's rude.
Yeah, it is. But they had a formula they used based on food sales as a percentage, and they would say
they were just a terrible waitress.
Yeah, well, listen.
Yeah, I guess that's the tax you pay on being a terrible waitress.
Pay. Yeah, one way or the other, you got to pay. So, but that's what they would do, and that's what they'll do to people who give 0 interest loans. They say, this just isn't legit. You should have been earning some interest, and it's a really low interest rate. If you look at the calculations at the IRS, I mean, it's 1%. I mean, it's super low, but still, they're going to have to pay tax on that. So I can never, ever, ever remember at any of the times that I've suggested seller financing. And there have been very few times that I've actually got a true seller finance deal. I could count on both hands. But isn't it like 2%? So they don't. Yeah, it's really low. It's really low. 1, 2, maybe 2%. I don't know what the current rate is. I'm sure that fluctuates like mileage that you can claim and things like that. But it's really, really super low. An interest rate that you'd be glad to pay the seller, no doubt. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Maybe we've got some finance experts on here that know more about that. Bill Walston would probably be a good person to answer that question. Bill, what is the IRS imputed interest rate? If they tag a seller, what's that rate that they're going to tag them for on that? So I know it's really low. It's like 1% or somewhere in that neighborhood. Anyway.
Penn thinks 1.25. That's what he's got there.
Hey, Luke Mitchell. Yeah.
Bill Wilson thinks more.
3%. Is that like a fluctuation because of the current rate, or is it just pretty much standard? Because I'm not too familiar with that. Andrew, good morning. Good to see you. Phil says something sounds like a PETA. I'm not sure what he was talking about.
We were talking about the HOA, citywide
Oh,
HOA.
yeah, yeah.
Sounds like we're paying in the.
These guys are like $15 a month, but I can tell that just in talking with this guy with planning and development,
It's not the cost.
That there was.
It's not the cost that's the pain.
Yeah, they're
the
trying
rules.
to be strict. He said we've had this massive influx of short-term rentals, and we're trying to put together some rules to govern that. I could tell this was a guy.
They like their time. It's a kind of a upper scale town,
Mm-hmm.
and they like it to look pretty and
yeah,
they want to keep it nice.
It's really it's an interesting concept. A town, an actual town. They've got 30,000 people that live there. That has town provided amenities like Olympic-sized pools and tennis courts and like its own little Shangri-La or something up there for $15 a month. I don't know, but it sounds like it might be a good opportunity to flip some stuff. I don't know if I'd want to keep anything up there because I don't like HOAs personally.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Bill, yep. Okay, does that mean it fluctuates? Or,
yeah, I forgot what the question was.
Help me out, man. Help me out. Have some more coffee and talk to me. So, are you handling the questions, or do I need to be?
Well, there's not. I don't know. Is there a new one?
I think Carlos
had a question so far.
Carlos had a question about radio stations.
You got to ask some stuff, or we're going to run out of things to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I've got some questions that we got here in the last week that I'll be glad.
I know you do. You're always prepared.
But I would love to get some actual questions right here. What market is that? I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure
where we are. I think he's asking
where we are. We're in northern Arkansas right now.
Yeah. Bill said it's 4% now.
4%. Gosh, those thieves. As of October, 3 was last quarter, based on applicable federal rates. Well, there you go. So that's the number.
Is it automatic, or is that just if you're audited, or what?
Well, there's plenty of zero seller finance deals out there, so I'm sure that's like with most things. Nothing matters unless you're audited.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm asking questions I don't even know anything about.
Yeah. I mean, so do you go for? I mean, it's the seller that's going to have to pay the penalty anyway, not you. But you don't want to put them in a bad situation. Right. So. It doesn't matter unless you're audited. That's right. Break all the rules you want. We'll make more.
That's it's Bella Vista.
Yeah, this is actually in a little town called Bella Vista, which is pretty close to the Missouri border. Up there.
Not too far from Joplin.
Yeah. So that's where it's at. It's a little bit far out for us. We ruled it out pretty early.
Is it Bella Vista or the other little town up there?
No, it's Bella Vista.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that's north, right?
Right.
Okay. I don't know. Carlos had a question about radio stations. What radio stations do you recommend? And I actually learned about this specific radio from one of our Max students, Randy Thomason. Randy's on here sometime. I don't know if he's here today, but he said and talk about radio. He's not.
I said he's busy taking calls from radio.
Yeah, he's busy taking calls from radio. Between Randy, I think focuses on his radio advertising and working with probate attorneys. And the last time that he gave me a number, he's buying 10 or 12 houses a month, I think, from those two sources. Mm-hmm. Radio's doing really well for him, and then his relationships with probate people. So he said he would come on and do a show for us on radio. So we're going to have him on, I think the 1st. I think it's the 1st of December. Yeah. So that's the
point. Kind of what radio station? He said to use classic country, like oldies. Mm-hmm. And what was the other one? Talk radio.
Talk radio, classic country, and classic rock.
Because you want to aim a little bit for a little bit older demographic.
Right.
you know, the 20-year-old hip hop kids don't usually have houses to sell so much.
Right.
I mean, there's some, but not as many. So.
Right. So that's what he said do, and we followed his direction, and we're pretty happy with it so far.
Well, he went to a course or a boot camp or something to learn how to do that. So I figured we just do what he says because we figure he knows what he's talking about.
He went to a pretty pricey boot camp, I think. I can't remember the number, but it was 5 figures, I believe, to learn how to do that. So yeah, and he's doing real well. So education pays off, believe it or not. Most people they'll spend $50,000 on a college degree and never use it, but they're scared to spend $1,000 on a real estate course.
Right.
Have you used a HELOAN for an investment? I'm not even sure what that is. Sounds like something like a HELOC or some hybrid. I'm not really sure. You'd have to tell me what that is. But I can tell you now, no, I haven't.
Greek animal or something.
Because I don't even know what that is.
Me neither.
Yeah. So.
Randy is the godfather.
Randy, right? He is. He's a very knowledgeable person, and yeah, he is. 4 lots in Bella Vista. Well, there you go. You paying $15 a month for those lots, Luke? I don't know. I'll tell you what. This another example of why I don't like HOAs. The very first investment property that I bought was the largest HOA at the time in Georgia. It probably still is. There were, I can't remember, 1,500 houses in this HOA. It was originally built as for vacation properties for Atlanta well-to-do people. They would drive down to Lake Wildwood. If Dean's still on here, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I had about a dozen houses out there. But the first house I bought was in Lake Wildwood, and it had a second lot with it because when they first started developing it, a lot of times people would buy 3 lots, build on the middle one, and then have some space between them and the other people. And
buffers.
I thought, well, gee, I can split that lot off and sell it. And at the time, those lots would go for $8,000 to $10,000, depending on where they were located and how buildable they were. But when I bought the house and was moving forward with my master plan in my beginning investor days, call the office down there to see what was involved. The association fees for Lake Wildwood were $400 a year at the time. And so but if you had 2 lots with a house on one, you still only had to pay, they would combine it, you only had to pay $400 a year. Well, if you ever decided to split it off, you had to, of course, start paying $400 a year for the second one. But if you split it off, they would take it back retroactive until the time those lots were combined. So if the lots had been combined 10 years before, you would have to pay them
for 10 years,
$1,000 because all the years they didn't get those fees. It was just really crazy. So I said, well, fine, they can stay.
Yeah, you're like, never mind.
Negated the whole profits you would have made. That was just kind of stupid stuff that they would have you do. So wondering if you guys are raising your land contract interest rate on your buyers since we're seeing rising rates in the market, like above 9%. Well, Luke, you followed me for a while, so you know that I have a formula I use, and my land contract payment for my buyer needs to be $100, $150 a month more than rent. And it's going to stay that. So if the interest rate works out, then that's what we'll do. If it doesn't, no. So if I can't charge 10 or 11 or 12% interest and make things work, no. The upside is we're actually competitive with banks now. Banks are charging 7% interest or up to 8%. We can compete with banks. So the good news for us is we'll be marketable to A credit borrowers. They can buy our houses and pay less, really, because look at your HUD from the last time you got a loan with First Mortgage with Bank of America, and look at the thousands of dollars in fees that you paid. We charge our buyers 0 junk fees. They have
origination fees and all that.
Yeah. We don't charge any of that stuff. No points, no courier fees, no my kid needs a new car fee, and all that stuff. We just don't do it. They pay the closing cost and their down payment, period. Southern accent. Could be, man.
It's
She's hanging.
wearing off on me.
She's hanging out down here
I've
with
been
all
practicing.
these people.
I've been practicing that because
She's,
I want to fit in down here.
yeah, we practice every night. I teach cat, dog.
Hayat. You have to
Yeah.
say Hayat. Otherwise,
Yeah.
people don't know what it is. Otherwise, it's
So we practice. We try to
you
get
don't
her.
wear a hat.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, there we go. So we're working on her. She's got to fit in, man.
I know it, right?
People identify her right away. They say, "You ain't from around here, are you?" They don't say that to me.
No.
When I was in
They do that.
Colorado,
Yeah, they do. They did it to you when we were in Colorado. They're like,
what would they
"You
say to
are from
me?
here."
Yeah, what they would say, "Are you on vacation?" Right? Yeah, they figured me out early.
Yeah.
What I see some questions,
Mm.
but El Paso Ria, is this a recording or live? It is 10:23 Central Time, right this minute. So we're live right now. Now you can watch the recording later.
If you watch the replay, this will no longer. If you have a little red live up in the corner, it's live.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's the same on
you
YouTube.
can watch it later.
I think it is.
On your perpetuity. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else, or do I need to go to my question?
No, I think there's something here. Do we
Yeah.
do this one?
Are
I'm
you
jumping around a little bit.
Are you able to put a deed in escrow while it's in the seller's name with a promissory note starting once the house is paid off? The deed transfers to the new buyer. The courses that I read in the beginning said to handle a land contract that way, I sign a warranty deed to my buyer that's held in escrow, and they get that deed filed once they pay it off. But typically just a new deed is drawn, if that's the question that you're asking. When they go out and they get their new financing, then we'll actually go to a closing. That deed, it's more of a symbolic gesture, I think, in the beginning. I don't think that's not the deed that's actually going to be used. So if that's your question, I'm not real sure, but that's how we do it anyway. You have to work on the cliches. Yeah, I know, right? Every time I give her one, she says, "You made that up."
I do. I'm like, nobody says that. That doesn't even make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everybody knows in the South that when the sun's shining and it's raining, the devil's beating his wife and things like that, right? And the first time I said that, man, she couldn't believe it.
But how many times do you say something like that and I go, "What are you talking about?"
Right. A lot. Yeah.
Right, a lot. Yeah.
In the South, all
right. What else did we miss here? I think I missed another one. Did I already do that one?
We just got that one. Bloomfield by the Sea. I see you.
Oh, it's the same. Okay, I see. It's the same.
Right. That is right. I can't imagine what that place is like now. What are the fees? They're probably $1,000 a year now, and $5,000 every time you put a new tenant in it. So yeah, we had that question.
Did we do this one?
Mm-hmm. Do you ever cash out, refi any of your paid off properties? Do you recommend it, or is there a better way to get money to cover arrears? I'll tell you, Matt, the way that I've done this for 12 years is that's one of my calculations. How much to cure arrears? If I'm dealing with somebody in foreclosure and they need $20,000 to cure the arrears, and the house is worth $300,000, and I figure I'm going to spend $5,000 to fix that house up. Maybe there's not a ton of equity. The seller needs moving money. That's another $2,000. I'm in it for $27,000. Okay. And you can figure a couple extra $1,000 for maybe make a payment while you're doing some sprucing up or doing some things. It's like $30,000 to acquire that house. I'm going to get on a $300,000 house, 25-ish to 30 down. That's going to almost cover all of my acquisition cost. I'm good. Okay. And even if I leave a little bit of money in the house, $5,000, $10,000, and you're going to get $500 a month in cash flow, you're going to have a 60% or better cash on cash return. That's good enough. That's just part of the calculation. As far as how to get money to cover arrears, if there's equity, use private lenders. Gosh, he's not on here today. We had a guy on here a couple of weeks ago say, I've got some money. I want to partner with y'all and do some stuff. I mean, get out there, let people know what you do. And if the deal is a deal, there will be money available. If it's not, if you're talking to people with money, their experience with real estate, and you take them a deal and they won't fund it, that's a second set of eyes on it that just told you maybe it's not as good as you thought. Maybe you need to look a little closer. Obviously, if you've got paid off properties, get a line of credit. I wouldn't do a cash out refi. There's too many costs involved with that. But if I had a couple of properties that were free and clear and the bank would put a lien against them and give me a working line of credit, would I use that to write checks for arrears and get money back from down payments? You bet I would.
Heck yeah.
I don't care if those properties are encumbered. I'm not paying on that money if I'm not using it. So that's a good way to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do.
I don't know who this is, but.
Oh, yeah. Anoint her Southern by using her first and middle name.
With your accent.
We just call you Jodi K all the time.
Jodi K.
Jodi K. Yep, that would work. For sure. Yeah, Yankees get confused. Yeah, sometimes they get it. Finer than frog hair. You got it.
I know that one. I've heard that one a bunch of times.
Yeah, a lot. Okay. All right. Let's see. We got a question about a short sale there.
Yeah.
Ever done a short sale with USDA?
Click on it. I lost it.
It's 2 above where you're at right now. Ken. Here, I'll get it.
Yeah. There you go.
Have you ever done a short sale? Short sale with USDA? I have not. I have never ever originated and completed a short sale. I've come in the middle and back end of them and actually taken over and purchased a house, but I have not originated. Jodi has.
I've done some, but not with USDA.
Right. You've start finish short sales.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, but they were just mostly conventional. So like with,
yeah,
I can't remember if they all were actually, but it was no USDA. So
there's a term for you. You guys have heard me say I would rather straddle and slide down a razor blade.
I hate that one. That's a very bad visual.
Listen, that tells you how much I hate them.
That's bad.
That's right. Think about it.
I don't want to think about it.
Let's see. We've got Orrin here. Good morning, William and Jodi. Glad to be on a live coming in from Nashville, Tennessee. Well, good, Orrin. Good to have you on this morning. So, yeah. All right. Are we caught up? No.
Just don't comment here.
Not found a bank that would do a line of credit on investment property. Huh. You know, if you approach, and I don't know who you work with down there, Dean, but I did stuff with Magnolia Bank over in Gray. Gosh, let's see. I can't remember a couple of them now, but I remember them because they did my first real estate deal. Jerry Flowers did and gosh, Jerry's probably 100 years old now. And then BB&T actually gave me $100,000 working line of credit 15 years ago. But that was just a goal line. That wasn't even attached to properties. So that list of lenders is shrinking rapidly. I'm hunting for a HELOC for a client now on a non-owner occupied. Yep. I think that's going to be the smaller banks, the more regional ones. You know, we got 2 calls last week. You want to tell everybody about that?
Did we already talk about it last week?
We may have. I don't know, but I'll let everybody on here.
There might be new people here, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got one call from a Bandit Sign and one from the radio station.
Mm-hmm.
Both happened to be from the same bank, but 2 different people. But they were very interested in just doing doing some kind of business with us.
Right.
They didn't even know exactly what we do, but the one guy was super impressed with your radio.
Oh.
Your radio ad. I mean, he was like, "That is genius."
Well,
I don't know if you guys have heard it. Some of you guys have heard it, but it's really just William talking with no music. It's just like a dialogue, That's all it is. But apparently it's genius.
Yeah,
But
it is genius.
thanks to Randy for that, because that's what his is like.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, they're both, and they both know. I guess one of them hasn't, but one of them has contacted us again, wanting to like meet with us and stuff. So, you know, want to see what they can do. I'm sure they want to give us money, but they'll be probably a little disappointed to know we don't need as much as they think we do.
Right.
So
but we're going to go down and talk to them and see what they got. But they're a regional bank. They're a Arkansas State, bank. They're 100 years old. They've got 24 locations, I think. So they're very community oriented and So.
Super nice. Both of those guys were super nice. One was like a vice president. I mean, he was like up there.
Senior vice president. I don't know what that means. I know these banks have a lot of vice presidents.
That's true, but he's not a teller.
Right. That's true.
He's got some status.
They both said, "Come down here and let us give you some money."
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, we'll go. We'll see what you got for sure.
Yeah. I think we're meeting with him next week.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Are we out of questions now? Let's see. Whoops.
I don't know. No, that would be Bill Walston. He would end.
Yeah, he's the bless your heart guy.
Yeah. He would do that. Not me, probably. Okay. So if you guys don't have any questions, guys, I don't know how many of y'all on here, but if y'all got some questions, throw them at us. We'll talk about some of the stuff that we've, dealt with here this week. Like I said, we got 2 calls this morning. One we told you about the HOA officer or whatever he is in that town. The other one was an interesting call. It was a gentleman calling for his mom. His mom owns 30 acres with 2 houses, and she's in her 70s, and she wants to get rid of them. She can't continue paying $1,500, which is the mortgage. They owe about $80,000 on this property. Her payments are $1,500 a month, and it's just a hardship on her, and she wants to get rid of it. The monkey wrench is there's a $500,000 lien on the property. Apparently, the husband got into some trouble and has a federal tax lien for $500,000 on it that's been on there for 17 or 18 years. And the property's worth, according to realtor estimations, about $610. So there's not a whole lot there to deal with. So they're trying to work on getting that lien removed. That shouldn't be too hard for them, I would think. At this point, the husband's dead now, and the lien was on him.
It was supposed to fall off at 20 years anyway.
Right,
so it's like 2 years left. Well, right.
Yeah. So we told him we felt like the best thing for his mother was she's hired a lawyer who says that he can probably get that taken off, which he probably can.
Right.
So we advised him to work with that attorney, get that taken off so his mom can list that property.
Right, because if she can list it, she'll get a lot more than,
right,
and sooner than she would with us.
Yeah, he talked like if the lawyer's not successful for some reason, she might be really motivated to dump this thing for a significant discount. So I'm not sure how that'll work out.
I think she wants to, it seemed like she wants to just get out. That's kind of like a farm. It has a barn and some outbuildings and stuff.
Right.
I think she just wants to get in somewhere more convenient, and she's older now.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So I've got another question. Have you done deals with realtors on the MLS? Well, you bet.
You see it. I don't see where that one is.
Okay. All right. So here we go. Yeah. As a matter of fact, we have, and that's our next phase. And what we're trying to do here is to try to really, as the market continues to slow and the price reductions happen and the higher days on market, which are happening in a big way here right now, we're going to try to do some more of that. We've got 2 meetings scheduled with agents, one tomorrow and then one on Tuesday of next week to try to start working with some of those guys. Not every realtor, in fact, my experience, probably 5% or less of them, and will be open to something creative or something different outside the box. Jodi was an agent and a broker. Do you find the same thing to be the case?
Well, and back in the day when the market was a lot different, I did almost all my deals from the MLS. I bought REOs off the MLS all the time,
Right.
but that hasn't been possible for a little while.
Yeah. You'll find agents that'll work with you, but you'll also find agents that even if they discover their client's in trouble, they'll try to do things like hold them to the contract, not let them out, and actually let houses go to foreclosure. I've seen that too.
It's
So,
kind of tough because there's a lot of realtors who don't understand things, and we've talked about this probably 100 times before, but they don't know how things work all the time, and they can actually really mess up your deal.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Agents and attorneys. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're big killers for sure.
Yep.
Okay. What do you guys have going on course wise? You're going to have to give me a little bit more than that, Matt. I'm not sure what you're talking about. We've got courses, and you guys can go check them out.
I don't know if he's asking if we have anything new. We don't have anything new coming really soon. Won't be, well, probably I don't know. I guess I shouldn't say when.
We're focused on opening up this market here and getting this established.
Yeah.
We want to start working locally, and
we might have one in maybe 2 months or so.
Maybe she must be doing something I don't know about. She must be doing something. I don't have any. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing.
I have a secret course.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right then. Could you post on the group your radio ad if you don't mind, or is it on YouTube?
It's not on YouTube, but we could put it in a $7.
Carlos, you're in the Max group, aren't you? Carlos is in the Max group. We'll share it in there for sure. Okay. Yeah. I'll share it with you. I don't know if I want to put it on YouTube, but
no,
we'll share it.
Maybe we'll get deals from that.
Matt's still looking for the Black Friday deal. Well, gosh, Black Friday's what? 8 days away. Should we have a Black Friday deal, Matt? I don't know. Tell us. What should our Black Friday deal be? What should it be?
Yeah, give us an idea.
How is the market in your area? Do you feel a large shift? I wouldn't say it's large anywhere yet, but the signs are all there. Price reductions, longer days on market, sellers more motivated. What do you think?
I feel like the shift won't be as big as before because, the powers make sure it doesn't happen so fast.
Right. Foreclosures are back.
Collapse like last time.
Yeah. Foreclosures are back. We went driving yesterday. We did 16 yesterday, and 2 of them or 3 of them were vacant. So we're always excited about that. So we've got some detective work to do today. So we'll see what happens there. Yes, Black Friday deal.
But we want suggestions. What do you think a Black Friday deal should be?
Yeah, what should a Black Friday deal look like?
Listen to everybody, but
yeah. Tell us
have a good idea we would.
What would the Black Friday? What would be irresistible? Okay.
Yeah, this is an interactive show, so let us know.
What interest? Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I stepped on yours.
Okay. Do you have an avatar that you target for deals? What is it now? That hasn't changed, Anthony. I want the largest potential market for buyers possible. That means median price plus or minus about 10%. I can't imagine that changing. If you look at it, and I know I've given you guys some websites to go to, bestplaces.net, other things, go to the real estate tab and see where the largest percentage of home prices in that area that get sold. And you'll probably find 60 or 70% or median plus or minus 10%. So, for example, if I buy a house in a 55 and over neighborhood, guess what? I've just narrowed my potential buyer pool to 55 and over, boom, just like that. So I'm not interested in that sort of thing. If I buy a house, if the median price range here is 350 and I buy a house worth 600, I've just ruled out 90% of my potential buyers. Boom. Only the upper 10% are going to be interested, and they better love the layout of my house, and the price is great, and the location, because they're very picky. So I want the largest pool of potential buyers possible. We've only been marketing here. We've been here about a month, and we've really just been working it for 2 weeks, maybe a little longer, Jody, 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah, it's 3.
We've already had 2 houses I know we could have had. One 600,000, one 500,000. And we looked at those in 2 ways. One, for a potential deal, which we almost ruled out immediately because of the cost.
It'd be hard to flip it, yeah.
For where we are. But we're also looking for a house for us. But we didn't like either house. One had an adjustable rate mortgage. It was a brand new home in a subdivision on quarter-acre lots. It just wasn't what we wanted for a permanent house.
Which
The
one
other
was
one sounded great.
Which one was that one?
The brand new home that the guy just bought
Oh,
two
right, yeah.
and not moving in it, right?
Yep.
The second one sounded great. It was a 4-bedroom, 3-bath on 5 acres, about 15 minutes outside of town. It sounded perfect, and the seller was very motivated.
Yeah.
She'd already moved across the country. That payment was a hardship for her. But when we got there, that
The situation was perfect for a deal. But
the 5 acres was at the corner of the major highway. It was the first house on the road. You had no privacy anywhere at the house. I mean, constant
really loud traffic noise.
And the house wasn't spectacular. It just wasn't. It was a nice home, but it just wasn't for us. So we had to rule those out.
It was actually kind of unattractive on the outside, right, for that price.
So we had to rule those out. But median price plus or minus 10%. Will you deviate from that from time to time? If this house, this $600,000 house, if she had given it to me, 50 cents on the dollar, would it be a deal? Well, yeah, you'd look at it a little bit differently then. But no, not for the normal stuff. Nothing different.
So Matt wants the main course along with the contract to close course.
Mm-hmm. So
for what?
Okay.
For free?
For free, or just bundle them? You can go get them both.
You can buy them right now if you want. They're just. What's the deal part of it?
All right. What Kelly says, she's on a call with a motivated seller.
Nice.
Well, that's great, Kelly. You let us know how that's going.
Yeah. Look at that. I kind of think that's true. I mean, these are like more affordable than a lot of people's stuff.
Yeah, you bet, Carla.
Your stuff is.
Yeah, always has been.
See, this is another about the book.
Does your book go into exact details about sub 2 from start to finish? I promise you, our ultimate sub 2 will take you, and I know there's people on here that have it. I don't know if Anthony.
If anybody else is on here that has bought the course, share what you think about it, because I think it's like, I don't think there's anything missing out of it.
Right.
I bought it before we were dating.
Start to finish.
I actually had to pay for it.
Yeah, she actually had to pay for it. So yeah. Okay. Anthony's asking about an avatar as far as year build, equity. I prefer houses 10 years old or less. Will we buy older? Sure, we will. Equity, I don't care. I'll buy an over leveraged house if the numbers still work. Repair estimates, generally I'm looking for a house. If it needs more than paint and carpet, I'm out. Okay. Unless there's some other factors. If there's equity and the seller's not looking for a bunch, and we've got a little bit of room. But remember, I established these guidelines, Anthony, when I was doing stuff remotely. That part may change a little bit here now, since we're right here to oversee stuff. I like houses 10 years old or less. Equity doesn't matter. Sure, we love it, but equity fluctuates with the marketplace. Little to no repairs, really good shape, that I can just buy that house very quickly and then get a buyer in it. So our actual Anthony, our actual list of all of that stuff is right there in the Max group. So be glad to. I mean, just go take a look, man. It's all right there. What else we got? Oh, wow, Jeff. All right. Well, Jeff's just a commercial. We should let Jeff do the commercial for us.
Yeah.
Take you from start to finish. Okay. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Here.
That's a
That
great
says we should call the bundle the goat.
The goat. Yeah.
Like Bronchek calls his the whole enchilada.
Okay, the goat bundle. All right, we'll see. I don't know about that. Hey, you guys, we got the goat with us. It's right up here on the shelf. Phil, if you're still on here, you see Wiley. He's right there.
Sitting up on the little pretend mantle.
Yeah, he travels with us. He goes with us everywhere. I got that. That was a birthday gift from some of our students.
When you turned 40, right?
Yeah, 40. That's right. Okay, so we
right, I think might be.
All right, let's talk about a couple of things then. If you guys have some questions, we've got another, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes on here. So need to play him. Man, his batteries are probably run out. We played that thing a bunch when we got him. So yeah, we had some fun with him. They actually modified the goat. They put a little recording mechanism in him, a little player. And it's pretty cool, really.
It's all William's voice, just all his little sayings. And
while we were on the road, hey, we're
buy some houses.
We're in Florida, we're in Oregon, we're in wherever. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
It's a traveling goat.
All right, so you guys have questions, drop them in here. We're just going to talk about some stuff. Did you have something you want to go over before we start on our question?
Nope.
Nope, you're good? Okay, here's a big thing. I see this everywhere, and we get these questions too. And some of you guys may have some comments on this. And the question that keeps getting asked is, first of all, how? I think we've got Andrew on here, and he's a mortgage guy, so maybe he can confirm this. If I buy a house subject to from a seller, and a year, 6 months from now, whatever, they're out there trying to get another loan and they have a DTI issue. First of all, you need to make sure that your seller understands when you're buying this house that this loan is going to stay most likely on their credit report until it's refinanced, until it's paid off. And it may impact their ability, and in fact, our paperwork addresses this, it may impact their ability to make future large purchases, cars, possibly houses, I mean, whatever, a major purchase, it may impact that. It may not, but it might, and they need to know that. Now, most lenders will, once your seller explains what's taken place, most lenders will give them the same credit they would give them if they rented the house out, and that's a 75% credit toward their debt to income. But they all might not do that, and they may not get any more. Now, there's a big thing. A lot of people like to say that if you use a servicing company, a third-party servicing company to make those payments, then that will give them 100%. That'll give your seller 100% credit. They won't have that ding their DTI or anything like that. And I'm going to tell you, the new lender doesn't care who's making that payment. It doesn't matter if you use a servicing company. It doesn't matter if you're paying it personally, your bookkeeper writes the check. It doesn't matter where the money comes from. If somebody else is responsible for making that payment, the lender is going to call it what they call it. The use of that third-party servicer is not going to impact it at all, because guess what? If your tenant doesn't pay, and your third party, they don't send in the payment to that servicer, the servicer is not going to make the payment. So everybody's in the same situation anyway. The lender doesn't care about that. So don't think that additional expense is going to take care of things for your seller, and certainly don't present that solution. Oh, listen, Mr. Seller, there will not be a problem. We use a third-party servicer. You're going to get 100% credit. You're not going to have any trouble. You're going to have some sellers down the road that are really angry you promised me whatever, and you're not going to be able to deliver on that. So, um, uh, Andrew, if you're still on here, tell me your thoughts on that. Just verify that. But that's just not the case. Um, Chances are the best your seller can hope for is 75% credit. The rest of it's on them, their income, their overall credit score, the strength of them as a borrower, whether they're going to get that new house or not until you refinance it. So know that that's not, that third party
Andrew's at work.
is not going to make any difference for you. Okay, so
Yeah.
any other questions? Stop on these things. Um, Something else that's come up recently. In fact, this actually came up in our Max group this past week, and we had a pretty sizable discussion on it. And that is, should you let, if you're dealing with a homeowner in foreclosure and that homeowner wants to stay, and most of them do, should you let them stay if you buy the house? And my answer has always been the same, and it always will be, and that's absolutely.
And we had to tell a seller that this last week.
We did. We sat in the seller's living room, who was emotional and crying and distraught. It had been their home for 15 years, and they wanted to stay. And I don't doubt that lady wanted to stay. And I really don't doubt that right in that moment, if we had paid up her back payments and said, listen, you can stay, you just pay us now, I believe she meant it in that moment. And I believe most sellers do.
Right.
When you rescue someone, they're very thankful. But that thankfulness doesn't seem to last very long beyond the actual event. And they feel cheated, and the first time they can't make the payment, and you just can't let them stay. They don't understand. This was my home. You're going to make a lot of money. It's just not fair. If you buy a house and a homeowner's there, they got to go. I mean, they have to be moved out. And my rule's always been, I'm not writing a check until your bags are packed and you're out the door. There's just too many possible problems.
Well, somebody had asked before if there's ever a situation where you can do that, at least back in, and I think we talked about this, that it's only possible if they're not distressed. I mean, if they're just moving and they need a little time or whatever, if it's a job transfer or something, that might be a little different. But when they're losing it, then they can feel like they were taken advantage of.
Right.
Or someone can tell them that they were, you know? Right.
And those scenarios are simple. Someone's building a new house and they're uncertain of the completion date. That always happens.
Yeah.
The contractor says we'll be done in May and they're done in September. They don't want 2 mortgage payments. And that's real simple. You have your closing, you get the deed, you record it, you're now the homeowner. They're renting the house for the amount of the mortgage payment. And I let them continue to send in that mortgage payment to their lender. And if they ever don't, well, guess what? I mean, so what? They're just not paying. I don't have any money in this deal because if there's equity due to them, they don't get it until they vacate, right? So they've given me ownership ahead of time. I can depreciate that property as a rental property. And then when they call me up and they go, hey, my house is ready, I'm moving next month, I say, okay, great, make the payment going out the door. We're good. Right. That's easy. Nobody was taken advantage of. It's very plain what the transaction was. And then the second case would be a job transfer. As you said, you'd handle it the same way. We'll go ahead, we'll do our closing. They'll continue to make the payment until their transfer date, and then they do. But when you're dealing with people under pressure, people that are in distress, that's going to look a lot different in front of the judge. You got to put money in this deal, and you don't put money in it until it's yours.
We do have another question if you have a minute.
Sure. What's the process of refinancing a house after the buyer lease agreement term is up? How do you get it out of the seller's name into the new buyer's name? Well, if you're talking about how we handle things, we buy houses and we take title in a trust. Our buyer comes into play. They give us a down payment. We give them equitable title to the property. They don't get legal title. At some point in the future, they'll go out and get a new loan. And at that point, we go to a closing, we deed them the property. They now have title and have the house in their name. That's how we do it. It sounds like you're talking about doing lease agreements, maybe selling with a lease and option. And I think it's probably pretty hard these days to find a lender who will treat a lease option as a refinance. I know back when I did sandwich lease options, it was getting hard to find ones that would consider that a refinance. Most of them consider it a purchase, and there's a little bit different criteria for that. So I don't know if you can find anybody these days. Andrew might know if he's still on.
I don't think he is.
What lender will treat a lease purchase as a refinance? There may be somebody. There probably are a couple of obscure ones that will, but I'm not aware of who they are. I don't know how you would handle that these days. Well, hey, Matt. Hey, you guys have a good day too. Matt's getting out of here.
He's like, it's 11 o'clock. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. So.
we got to get out too.
Yep, we got to get out of here too. We got a lot of work to do. We did that driving yesterday. We got skip tracing and calling people.
Calls to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. We appreciate that, Facebook user.
Whoever you may be.
Whoever you are. Hope you have a good day too. So anyway, you guys have a fantastic day. I guess if that's it, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We're going to
play our jazzy song.
Yeah, we're going to ask you again to go subscribe to our channel, Sub2 TV. Man, we're high class now. We got our own URL for that. So go check us out.
Fancy. We're fancy.
Share. Yeah, we're fancy. Yeah.
I was using my accent. We're fancy.
Fancy. Yeah, that's right. Check us out. Share our channel if you will. We always appreciate that. So I guess that's it.
So Javi, he has a question about the $7 coaching. If you message on the website, or I'm not sure, like I didn't get any message, I don't think, from Javier.
Huh. I asked in the website.
I'm not sure what website. And
not sure about that either.
If it's our Facebook page, somehow we don't get those messages sometimes.
Right.
We gotta figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
But what's a better way you can message us? You could just message us in Facebook Messenger to one of our personal names, and then we can answer your questions.
You can go to $7coaching.com and it'll tell you all about the program.
Yeah.
And you can actually sign up there too if you want.
Right.
If you have questions about it though, send Jodi and I a friend request and message us directly.
And also let us know what website you're going through, if it's a Sub2 Deals or Sub2 University, because we might have a problem we have to check out. So.
Right, for sure. Yeah, but we'd love to have you. So get over there and join us. Okay, we'd love to have you in there. All right, guys. I guess that's it for today.
All right.
All right. So what does everybody need to do, Jodi?
Get out there and buy some houses.
That's right.
Houses.
Buy some houses. All right, guys. We will not be here next Thursday. Next Thursday's Thanksgiving Day.
Right.
So you guys enjoy some turkey, and I guess we'll see you the week after that, December 1st. We're supposed to have Randy Thomason on here to talk about radio. You guys don't
December. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, December 1st, I think it is. And we took his information, and we've gotten a ton of leads just in the last couple of weeks.
That's right.
We really
Good
love
ones.
radio. So don't miss that one. But we'll send you an email or two or three and tell you about it.
Well, hopefully we won't do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully this will get fixed.
All right. You guys have a great day. Talk some
later. And buy some houses.